Hi, it's Amanda here, Creative Gardener, and I'm here by, it's not really a wood pile, it's where, when I've trimmed some of the trees, cut back, especially from the mahogany tree, and obviously trimmed it, um, this is where the branches go. Some of the branches, it was a lot bigger than this, and what my son and his friends sometimes do is they have like beachside bonfires, and it sounds really nice. I've never been invited to one, but they have breadfruit. Somebody catches fish, and they have fish, and they use the palm leaves. There's a guy who knows how to use the palm leaves and make plates, and they have a nice time. It's a nice bonding time for them. Anyway, so this is where he would get the wood from. And he'd dry it out, chop it up a bit smaller, dry it out. So this is my shack tree, one of them. I've got two, and they grow exceedingly fast. So like, here's a limb that I'm going to need to trim about there. So they grow really fast, and the good thing about them is they provide a lot of shade. The only other thing that can be a downside is the pods they produce just there, and they produce hundreds of them, and they drop, and each pod has at least between 8 and 12 seeds in there, and then the life cycle continues. So wherever they fall, they will produce mini plantlets. And you've got, okay, so this is one that had grown, and it's been cut back, but I'm looking for some more to see if I can show you. Oh, like, here's one, two, that the seeds fall. So wherever they fall, they're very good at germinating. That we've got another one here, and let's have a look at their roots. So they develop quite quickly in terms of their root system, and beyond this it would become impossible to, if they grow beyond this, so they become really difficult because the root system is very deep. But as you can see, for a young plant, already, it's establishing itself. You see that? Yeah. Anyway, so as a creative gardener, one of the things that I do, I'll just put it back here, and it will compost. Oh, there's another something growing. I think I'd oh, it's a squash. I've thrown some squash seeds here because I had some growing here before. I had what is it, pumpkin. I just flung some seeds, and I got at least 3 pumpkin from it here because they were all undisturbed. She's seeing it all today, aren't you? Whoa, it moves quick. Anyway, so I'm doing some cutting back, and I've already cut back one of the limbs. I need to go in and neaten this up. I forgot to, you're supposed to cut it underneath partly and then do it at the top. Is that thing gone? It's gone. Oh no, it's there, look. Sorry. It's just the way that it moves is just so, it's looking to grab onto something else. And they grow really big, and they eat the leaves of lots of leaves, especially from the Mexican sunflower. Anyway, so I'd cut it there. It's because it's at an angle. I've got a problem with my thumb at the moment, the joint. But anyway, so that's another one that's got to be trimmed because it's over the my planting, and it just really needs to be trimmed. You can see where I've trimmed it before. There, it just really needs to be trimmed there. It still provide shading. It's not that we sit under here, but it'll be a nice spot to sit actually, once all of these are cleared away. So one of the things that I do with the branches is make a deadwood hedge. And should we go and see that? Yeah, let's go. So here we are at the top of the garden. This started off as a deadwood hedge, and all I do is cut the branches and lay them across here. This was an opening. We were actually planning to do some work, but not only COVID, but a lot of things happened, and we weren't able to do it. So I wanted a quick way to close this, because past there is the main road. So I put them here, and then I put broadleaf thyme, and broadleaf thyme is a thing that grows really quick. So broadleaf thyme's growing up. A bird must have taken the cotton plant, one of the cotton plant seeds, and it landed out there, so that's growing, but I need to keep that down because it's attracting these bugs there, see, and the ones that have got the black bottom, they can fly, so they're the mature ones and they can fly. So the seeds from the cotton plant are attracting those. There's loads of them, and they've been producing babies. I've been trying to get rid of them, but it's proving quite difficult. Anyway, so this is like an example of a deadwood hedge, and the other thing that I do is I put it in between where I've got hedges that are growing. It's like it just goes under the bottom. See there? So I'd put it under the bottom to kind of close up any gaps. And even in a place like this, behind my, look at the tamarind tree, it's growing back, lost all its leaves. So I put them here as well, and behind here where there's gaps, and the plants will gradually grow up and grow around it. They'll break down, and it makes the soil, you know, along this area, because it was just a mound and it was mainly limestone, so it will enrich the plants. But let's get back to the tree. So you can see how big it grows, and it can grow even bigger. And that's my other one that I have over there, and that's over the actual banana trees. And in the organic farmers, just atop of there, now that wasn't as big when we first, it's like 3 years, it was the size of this one, but 3 years later it's, I think he's cut back a bit, but it grows really tall. So there's some areas that I'm fine with it growing, like I like this, but it's because it's quite near the well, you don't want it to grow so big that it then starts to affect the foundations. And look, I've got one here that I need to keep cutting back. Again, the seeds drop. Once the seeds are there, it's difficult to get rid of it from that spot. You can't dig it up. You actually, I've never killed a tree before, but you really don't want to. You want to plant more trees, but yeah, where they're growing, what I do is just cut back in places that it's not wanted, right back down to the soil. It grows back up, but then what it does is provides me with more material that I can use around the garden. So some of this I will use, as I showed you, in the deadwood fence deadwood hedge. Straight bits like this, I'll use the sticks themselves. I built a couple of arbors, mini arbors. So I was looking at this particular, the shack tree, to provide me with the material for the arbors. And then I've got other art projects not only in the garden, but things that I want to create. Like what I'd love to do if I had, there's an ant community on here. What I'd like to do is use the wood, so cut this in small sections, so you'd have little discs, and make some art pieces out of them. And like, you know, this is a nice length, so what I do is remove the bark. But I'm looking forward to using even the shorter, you know, some of these lengths, because it's nice to wood burn into them, and this coloration is really nice, isn't it? And yeah, the straight pieces used in particular projects. So I need to cut it up. At the moment I've just got this and elbow grease, and the wood, it's a hardwood, unlike the moringa. Yeah, so I'm going to get chopping, but I just wanted to show you that. So there's, you know, it's a brilliant idea to plant as many trees as you can. And where we've got a challenge of planting 1 million trees in Barbados, I think it is 1 million. I'm not sure what number we're up to yet, but I'm trying to do my bit. Again, the trees provide so much, you know, shade, and this particular, the shak tree, has scented flowers, so they come out in abundance before the pods, and they just make the whole garden smell really gorgeous. And then with the leaves, I use them for chop and drop, so put them on the beds, any bare soil, because we're on a hill, so when it rains, sometimes, you know, what's on the beds that I've created sometimes runs off. So the more layers I put, the more, you know, that will they'll stay. So I'm going to get on with this and see how far I manage to get in the next hour, hoping to get this to a manageable size and this is a lovely section. But again, the soil around here is going to be really rich, because this has had like over a year. It's breaking down slowly, and this is ideal for the branches are ideal for a hugel culture bed, which you'll put you know, the rotten and dead branches, and you layer it. Basically, you create a hole and layer it. So this is going to be really good material for that. I'll have to decide where I've got one, and then clear this away a little bit more, maybe even have some flowers. Anyway, so no, we're definitely going to have squash this year, because the squash are coming up. Yeah, we're going to have squash here, so that's cool. And again, it will provide, you know, all the, as it grows and I remove the squash, it will provide more material that will make this area really rich. Okay, so this is how this bit looks now. It's a bit higher, and the leaves are going to die off, the wood's going to die off slowly, but it's not your typical it's not your typical deadwood fence, but it would be more ordered and organised. But this will stop Cole from jumping over in this section, because he acts like a show horse. And I'll show you the other spot that I've put it in. So I'll put it here. This is another spot that I'm waiting for the smaller plants, which are down at the bottom, to grow up. So I put it here, and it does act as a defense. Not defense, but when there's debris blowing from the other garden, because the wind blows towards us, it stops it from coming in our garden, and that's. But the fence in those areas are taking, the hedge in these areas are taking a while, and this is again where I put some, it's died down, but I just keep layering and layering, and the soil in this area then becomes a lot richer, so that when I put the plants in, and here they are waiting to go in, but I need to do it in an afternoon rather than when it's, you know, first thing in the morning. But and let me show you the wood that I've cut, the ones that I've got. See, there's one that's looking to grow, and I want them to spread out a bit more, but I've put ones either side so that they can start growing. So these are the pieces that I have, good solid pieces. This one weighs a lot, it's so dense, and in the process of cutting, oh look, we've got a lot of these around. They don't eat the plants or anything, and they don't bite. Oops. Yeah, in the process, my cutter, I don't know the name of it, broke the nail, the screw snapped in half. It just broke. I mean, look at the size of it. Just broke. Anyway, so the next thing to do with these pieces of wood now, it's so it is a hardwood, as I said earlier, but the next thing I do is peel off the bark and then allow it to dry, and then I can chop it up smaller. I was thinking of doing a giant loom with this branch loom, and then leaving it outside. I want to start having some outside art. Outdoor art. And then this piece, I need to cut it up smaller first off, and then this would, as I said, this would be nice in sections, but it would also be nice because it's a bigger space to see how it takes to wood burning and creating some designs in it. I'd have to take off the bark first. The wood that has been the best so far is the moringa wood because it's a lighter wood. But yeah, so that's what I do with a lot of the wood that I cut from the trees. I allow them to grow extra tall, then I trim them back, and then I can use that around the garden. It goes back into the soil. The leaves go back into the soil, and it stimulates the tree. The tree's in its growth period now, because all the leaves had practically fallen off this shak tree. But yeah, I just need to trim the branches back a bit. It was half this size like a few months ago, so it's amazing to see. But it also then does provide shade for some of the plants underneath, and where the other one is, it provides shade for the banana trees from the breeze. Anyway, so I hope that was useful, and if you follow me on Instagram and my arts Instagram, then over time you'll see some of the projects that I do with these, and I mean I'll share it on my Creative Gardener Instagram as well. Okay, so take care, see you soon.